gentlemen, to this week's episode of Into the Nerdverse, and today we are being released on a slightly different day because it's fucking Star Wars Day. Ooh. And this week we do not have the famous Sammy Dodger Minds of TikTok because she's skiving an illness. Instead, we have I can't really abuse him this week because he's here. We have Callie.
Hey, just here to keep an eye on you.
Yes, that's it. We're being supervised this week. That's it. Sammy's not actually skiving. She's been fired. And then
he knows not to come into work on the day the boss is here.
That's what it's going to be. I'm going to get a message straight after. It's going to be that. And we also have Macam Dan. I'm just going to call him Dan for this.
Yeah. Hello.
Who is just an epic Twitch mob, to be fair. But also, I've always said when we do a Star Wars podcast, it's going to be on it.
Yeah. I think that's been the case for a while, since before Boba Fett came out.
It really, really has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And as always, guys, we're on the Robot Republic Network. So if you look on Spotify, Acast, Good Pods, YouTube, and any others, Callie? Apple Podcasts.
That's it, Apple, yeah. Spotify's the main one, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We have also Recharge Wrestling. We have the Treehouse podcast and that one that Callie's on.
Yeah, that one. I mean, it's not been done for 2 whiles, so it's fair enough you're ignoring it. But yeah, the Untitled Gaming podcast for your weekly gaming news with me and Marcus, where we just mostly talk, chat to each other. Sunday brunch for us, really.
The one that we call the Unnamed Gaming Podcast over here. Because...
No, I see. I thought I was being very clever with the naming of it as well.
Yeah.
Then we also have, obviously, all of the other stuff on YouTube, of which there is tons of shit. So get involved. There is absolute mega fuck ton.
Yeah, / Robot Republic on YouTube. There's a whole load we're doing at the moment. A lot of Pokemon content too, because people seem to like that.
Yeah, to be fair, it's the one thing I miss now that I'm a roleplay streamer. I miss being a Pokemon streamer. I really miss, because the community is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
And I've still not actually played Arceus Legends, which I am baffled by.
Well, we're going to be, and another little plug here, we're going to be doing some Pokemon tournaments coming up, so and looking to get additional people to kind of come and do battles. So yeah, let us know. Oh, flexing the knuckles now.
I don't lose Pokemon battles.
I probably do. I actually am. I don't care at all about Pokemon. I think they look cute and I like the anime, but I am so bad at those games. Like, I get so frustrated and bored.
I just love them. Like, right. So today, Star Wars Day, and I'm working. So I can't even watch. I kept saying to myself, I'm going to book it off so I can actually do a Star Wars binge. I'm going to book it off. I'm no longer a teacher. I have the capability to book days off work. And I didn't book it off.
Just do a Sammy Dodger. Just, dodge work for the day.
Yeah,
I didn't plan on having it off, but things have happened, so we roll.
That's true. But first things first, the thing that we haven't actually spoke about on this podcast, before we get into the movies, before we start making controversial opinions on why the Star Wars fandom, as much as Star Wars is my favorite thing in the world, and there's the fact that I hate the fandom more than anything in the world, Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Yes.
What were people's opinions?
Oh, it wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. The new stuff they're releasing, Bounty, what's it called? Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it's class. It's awesome. The best episodes of Boba Fett were the two without him.
Oh yeah, the Book of Mando were great. The Book of Mando was
brilliant.
But no, I did see someone tweet this, and it just was the perfect summation of Book of Boba Fett. It's about a crime lord that doesn't like crime.
Yeah, that does kind of sum it up.
I mean, I've always had a bit of a thought Boba Fett's somewhat overrated because he looks very cool, but within the films he mostly just gets pratfalling around. He does nothing. He gets pushed in, flies off into a Sarlacc pit. He gets accused. Darth Vader's no disintegrations this time, showing that he's incapable in general of doing his job properly. So other than the extended books and all that kind of thing, he was a bit useless in the films. He just looked cool. And then in this, you think you've got yourself a character who is a bounty hunter, one of the kind of coolest jobs you could possibly do in the Star Wars universe, and you show him just sat on a planet trying to run a criminal empire without making it about crime. And
the only thing that when on that one is like it was good to see like his backstory, what happened between when he went into the Sarlacc pit and he spread it out over the 3 episodes. Again, they did something on the episodes, but it felt like kind of filler to spread it out over 3. But I guess that was like try and spread out the series out an extra couple of episodes rather than putting it all into like one episode.
I did like the punching out the Sarlacc pit business. I also liked when he went and got his revenge, even though he kind of showed his incompetence there as well.
I think when he was in his little flashbacks to like when he was being trained and like working with
the Sand People.
Yeah.
The Tusken Raider bits were great.
Mm.
It was just the modern day stuff was crap.
Yeah.
And he went from being this badass to getting some level of revenge for the Tusken Raiders, and you're like, yes.
Mm.
And then he just got worse and worse.
I've got to say my least favourite thing about it. In fact, no, I actually just disdain or just hate this, basically. Those motherfucking mods.
The
right?
mods,
like,
yes.
It's like someone sat down in the meeting and like, okay, we got these people that modify their bodies, so they're going to be called mods. And someone went, hey, why don't we make them look like mods from England in the 1960s with fucking Vespers and bright and that. No, this is Tatooine. Everyone is wearing basically rags. Like, you're wearing things appropriate for a very sandy climate and a hot climate. And nothing looks new, except these poor people who are robbing water. Like, these aren't rich things, yet they've got the shiniest looking Vespers. Their clothes all look like they're, would suit modern London. And yet they're living on Tatooine. It was just so out of place, and I hate whoever made that decision.
Genuinely... And I don't know if Dan was in his Twitch chat when he was talking about it, but my mate Dust Monkey was going through and he was just like, these modifications make sense in the Star Wars universe if you're on a different planet. Like, if you're on Coruscant or if you're on the gambling planet or anything like that, they make sense.
Yeah.
But here, Tatooine, where even the droids are like half built, very rusty, like not even fully fixed. Why? How does this work?
If they were crap modifications as well, I would be okay. If they've got a droid's arm and they've ripped off, but no, they got like high quality and again really shiny. Skins.
Yeah, shiny on you, and then like the mods that I guess it links in a little bit with like how they sorted out Fennec Shan, but it's still having the mods there it did feel a little bit out from like the whole theme of Tatooine being this rundown, dusty planet.
Yeah, it's a backwater. Like the fact that the guy has like one of the guys has a white shirt or jacket or whatever, and it's pristine white. You're like, this is not the dirty, Tatooine we're used to seeing, and I don't see how it could possibly fit in there. Especially, and again, they're meant to be poor. There's a scene where they're accused of stealing water because they can't afford it, and yet they have all this other stuff, like the nicest clothes Tatooine's ever seen. Also,
can we respect that they have the slowest vehicle chase in Star Wars history, where they do this thing where they zoom in so heavily on the vehicle in front to make it look like it's going fast, and then when they zoom out on the Vespers, you're like, I could run faster than that.
Just crazy chase scene. But then it's like as you said, the shiny new modifications. But the thing I remember is like the shootout at the end, and he goes around and he spins before he shoots.
Yes, don't get me wrong, I understand the wanting to look cool while firing your gun stuff. So I could sort of forgive that if he was, appropriate, because I could see a bounty hunter doing something stupid like that.
They actually did do that with Mando. He did either Mando or Boba actually turned around and did a spin shot, but it was like he was shooting one side, then span around to shoot the other side, where the mod just spanned for the sake of spinning.
Yeah. It's that production meeting. I am still fuming at whoever was involved in that, because it is 100% because of the name mod, and they just took or Googled mods or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, they genuinely were like, "What's a good way to look at modifications?" And they went cyberpunk, and then we can make this canon in Tatooine, can't we? And I genuinely hope whoever made that decision got fired, because but also. Even in the episode, I'm not sure if many people picked up on this, and this fucking pissed me off when I saw it. the planet that we find Mando on when he's collecting the bounty was a fucking Halo ring.
Oh yeah, that was kind of awesome though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, right, Halo's canon. Right, here we go.
Even with the Mando episodes, which were the kind of cooler ones, I had some problems. I mean, the whole Mando thing about not taking off a helmet always felt a bit weird and forth. And I know it's their particular sect of like Mandalorian that didn't, because of that. If you've seen the Clone Wars, they're always taking their fucking helmets off. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But the thing that really annoyed me about something in those Mando episodes is he gives the package to give to Grogu.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda. And then Luke does the whole, you get to pick between a lightsaber or this vest, which is like attachment to things, I suppose. And it's like, Luke, did you not learn anything from the failings of the Jedi in the prequel series? Like, surely he came along and it was kind of, a bit on the turn to the dark side. He defeated Vader, but he, stood fast and I will not, kill Vader to the Emperor, he says, and all that. So, like, he's the only Jedi. He's looked back at the books. Presumably he's got a bit of a lesson from Yoda or whatever, meeting him as a Force Ghost. And yet he still does the whole pick between attachment and this. You can't have both kind of thing. And the big problem with the Jedi really was they were this whole dogmatic, children raised and taken from their parents, no love, and that was a problem. So it just seems like he's not learnt anything, and I don't feel like that would have been what Luke would do.
Yeah, it's also that bit, from what I've been told, is in the comics, which is set later on. Ben Solo destroys the lightsaber that was going to be given to Grogu anyway. So it's like they were like retconning something that they already said was canon.
Oh, really? So Grogu's been in the comics now, is he?
No, not Grogu, but the lightsaber's meant to be Yoda's, and it got destroyed in like when Ben Solo went mad in the at the temple.
Yeah.
Apparently that's when the lightsaber gets broken. But yeah.
I'm not surprised Ben Solo went mental, to be honest. Just seeing it, he was basically trying to recapture the Jedi magic from when they were a cult, basically in the prequel series, and fighting as warriors or whatever. So like, yeah, I don't know. He just felt like he hadn't learned his lesson. Like I have a lot of problems with kind of the idea that the Chosen One that brought balance to the Force lasted only about 20 years anyway. Like with the new stuff, but just seeing Luke just repeat the mistakes of the past.
It just seeing it as well, and there was next to no explanation of anything. Ahsoka then starts kind of going against what she said herself before, and I kind of wanted to explore the Ahsoka Luke dynamic a bit, at least, because you're like, Ahsoka saw Anakin in his prime.
Yeah, she was the student of his dad. Like,
yeah, and yet like we've seen like nothing, and you're like,
yeah,
come on. And we know she's got her own series coming out. I'll be honest, not many of us are truly looking forward to it, but like...
I'm quite looking forward to seeing. What's the Jedi in that called? The one that's still alive in
Ezra.
The Clone Wars? Ezra, yeah. I'm quite looking forward to seeing live action Ezra. And finding out what, because at the end of the Clone Wars cartoon series, oh no, not Clone Wars, Rebels had like him being pulled away with Thrawn by the space whales, the tentacled space whales. So it'd be quite, I'm kind of interested to see that, but I don't know. I've lost a little bit of faith in Star Wars TV Disney shows since Boba Fett, because Mandalorian was great because it was just monster of the week, like a new kind of. There wasn't this big overarching plot. It was just good times. You got to see him hanging out. I do think that's why they also had to have Baby Yoda reject Luke, because of Mando Season 3 would otherwise be... Well, it wouldn't have Baby Yoda, which is a big draw card, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I agree with that. I think I don't know if you've seen they brought up the High Republic book series last year.
Oh, some of those were crap.
Yeah, questionable stuff. Where it's like they did things like set 300 years in the past, and it's like stuff that's been established in canon. just completely gets like rewritten, such as like the yellow lightsaber is only meant to be for Guardians.
Guards, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's given to one of the main characters in the books, and then it's like the purple lightsaber was only given because of like Samuel L. Jackson wanted a purple lightsaber, but they turned around and they've got it to the only non-Jedi Force user who has a lightsaber gets given like a purple lightsaber.
Yeah, they started. I tried to read. I've got the main like the proper novel they did for the High Republic, and I could not get far at all. It was not. It wasn't even like it was badly written. Like usually, if I don't finish a book, it's because it's badly written. But I was reading it and I was like, this is just dog shit. like the High Republic, I had such high hopes for because the way they promoted it made it look like it was going to be brilliant. And we haven't really seen an awful lot of the High Republic. So there was a lot they could have given us that could have been some excellent storytelling. Yeah. But instead it was canon breaking. It was pathetic, and you kind of just hate Yoda in it because you think Yoda's kind of dumb.
Not really. I don't know. It's like I know because I've been listening to the main thread, and it's like you don't. It's like Yoda's just there as someone that existed, rather than being an actual Jedi. He's just there. Who's looking at someone who's looking after the younglings, and then that's it. He's mentioned in like 2 parts across like 3 books.
So you feel like a lot of the new stuff has this like obsession with they even kind of wrote it into one of the Star Wars films that I'm sure I'll bitch about later, but the whole rejecting the past and rejecting your kind of like traditions and things, and it's like Star Wars is based on a very simple story, the whole hero's journey thing. You know, it's like well written, but it's in this kind of core, it's a hero and it's his particular family and story. So everything when they're like, I don't know, I've not read the High Republic, but if they're just like minimizing Yoda rather than talking about, you could have had a story with Yoda from 300 years ago kind of explaining why he's such a badass and why he's considered one of the most or the most powerful kind of Jedi. Well,
at this point he's already supposed to somewhat be the Grandmaster Jedi.
Like he's not already the Grandmaster, but he's one of the highest ranking.
Yeah, well but like this is his like path to, and if not he's within like a 50 to 100 years of being that. But everyone is supposed to look up to him already. And yet you just kind of see this figure that comes in, says something and leaves. And you're like, right, we didn't see Yoda in his prime. This is the perfect time.
This is your opportunity.
Yeah, and we're just not seeing it. And the Jedi kind of just looked... When reading it, yes, you can understand why the Jedi were falling so quickly and why they become basically this like very politically corrupt kind of organization. That's the only bit that you can understand from it. But we didn't need the High Republic to prove that, because just by watching the prequels, it's fucking obvious.
Yeah.
Like they were just so blinded by their own kind of power at that point. And actually Yoda was really, as much as we love Yoda, Yoda was the Jedi's biggest downfall, because they all had so much faith in that one figure that they didn't think there was no worry, there was no concern. They just went with whatever him and Mace Windu said, and Mace Windu fell very quickly in. And as much as I do like Revenge of the Sith as a film, the most pathetic sword fight ever, considering he's supposed to be alongside some of the best battle master Jedi of the generation, and they get cut down very quickly.
Palpatine's meant to be really good with his lightsaber as well, and generally the dark side of the Force powers. So
yeah, but at the same, like, because it's the whole idea, and they had to canonize it after, because the whole Sith scream is supposed to weaken people and strengthen you up, but that only happened after the prequel series, because they had to somehow canonize how he won that quickly. When you watch,
are we talking about the one when he first walks in, when Mace Windu walks in? You mean, or
when they walk in and he does that scream and spins?
Yeah.
So that the Sith scream in canon is basically supposed to weaken light side users and strengthen dark side users. And that only became a thing because in the Clone Wars, you had like all of the people that were fighting in that duel were seen as these like superior battle masters and sword masters. And you're like, then why did they get cut down so fucking quickly?
Hear me out. I've got a theory on this. Like, genuine one I've had before. Like, so in one of the books, I think it's Plagueis, there's a sort of scene where it talks where Palps goes and like kills everyone at this like party or whatever, or this meeting, and the cameras just see kind of this blur flashing around the place like he's super fast. So I like to think of that scene where he does his 720 spin screaming at someone is slowed down immensely, and his stabbing of these and making mincemeat of these Jedi, because it's actually happening way faster than we're seeing it.
Okay.
Like if you were to speed up, that's my little theory anyway. Because to say they do talk about him being a blur on the screen, so I like to imagine you speed that up, and that's why he makes such easy work of it, because he's just like straight to him, kill.
Yeah,
It would have been good to see a proper. Imagine seeing an actual good battle there, but then again, maybe it's just trying to show. They want to show just how damn powerful Palpatine is.
Yeah,
like, they can cut down these guys with no issue.
Yeah, I think they got to like the better Palpatine fight was in Clone Wars when he was fighting Asajj. When he was fighting the Maul brothers.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
That battle was really good when it's like both of them wielding dual lightsabers against him, who's put like against his own like red lightsaber, and it's like the Master V, the apprentice of the apprentice. Really good. I enjoyed that.
But like the Clone Wars, just did so much. Like, and what I hate is the fact that Clone Wars isn't in order, and the fact I watched the Clone Wars and then found out it wasn't in order, and then I was like, I've got to watch it again now. But also the penultimate series of the Clone Wars, what was supposed to be the final, was dog crap.
Yeah,
because Netflix took over and ruined it.
Yeah. The thing that made the series stand out wasn't even in it, and that was Ahsoka.
Yeah,
she wasn't even. She'd already been like left the Jedi Order at that point.
And when Disney took over, they were like, "No, she has to come back." Like, you've got this character who is quite clearly the pinnacle of your character, like your entire thing. But they also recast a load of the people Netflix did for some reason. So, like, when you listen to Palpatine talk, it's not the same guy. And it doesn't make sense why they would recast him of all people.
I know they use Ian McDermott in some of the episodes with Palpatine, but I don't know the history of it going from wherever to Netflix, so I don't know which parts it is. I thought it was just maybe this newest season. But
the newest season by Disney Plus, they used Ian McDermott.
If we're talking about that though, how good is that newest season as well? That final couple of episodes, that Maul fight with the glass that blows out.
Yes.
One of the best looking fight scenes kind of ever.
From now on, when I do Star Wars binges, I genuinely cannot go without watching at least those last 3 episodes of Clone Wars.
It adds so much to it.
Isn't there a supercut that's been done of combining that scene, the beginning part of episode 3, and I think someone's gone and done mixing in the beginning part of Bad Batch.
Nice.
To make it one big 5 or 6 hour supercut.
To make the Order 66, that was the start of the Bad Batch, wasn't it? To have that whole, see every angle of it.
See, I just think, the final season of Clone Wars was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I can be honest, I've not watched the Clone Wars movies. I don't think I will. But the Clone Wars is a series as well. It's what I liked about Mandalorian. There is an overarching plot there, but they don't focus on it every week. They don't need to. Like, to be fair, it got a bit annoying in Mandalorian season 1 when you were just like, right, episode 1, plot episode. Episode 2, no plot. 3, back to plot again.
Every other episode's a fetch quest.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they watch a lot of anime. So they're like, we don't remember, guys, animes are some of the most watched series now. They don't do plot every week. We're not going to do plot every week.
Yeah.
But they did that with the original Clone Wars. It's like when the TV series, there's the cases where there's like just four filler episodes make up like one little mini saga, and it's like, okay, but it was like 22 episodes a season.
Yeah.
And you said so. I know the first time I actually did a full watch through, I ended up grabbing a guide and saying, okay, which episodes can I cut out? And it's like, right, okay, so this one, so I don't have to watch this one, right? Okay, that's fine. The only good thing that I thought from that entire last season, like the old last season, Series 6, was they did show how Force Ghosts become about.
Yes.
Yeah, because those scenes with Yoda and like him kind of realizing problems with, or like starting to realize the Order 66 stuff and all this, yeah, right. And I've only ever seen the sort of final season once, and probably even not in its entirety. So I don't remember it being bad, but I do remember Yoda going to like the Sith planet and having these dreams where he's like, or hallucinations or something, isn't he? And he's like jumping over. Someone needs to jump and explain
something like that. Yeah,
but yeah, I do remember thinking they were bad. I have to rewatch them. Like I don't think I've seen every episode of the Clone Wars. Quite often, my partner will just have it on, and I'll catch bits and pieces of it, and then miss various episodes. Yeah, it is certainly one of the better pieces of Star Wars.
Yeah, that, and I think because I recently listened to the Ahsoka book, which shows that, because I really enjoyed that, and the fact that like the audiobook is read by the person who does the voice of Ahsoka.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's
I didn't notice that because I've listened to that myself. And,
yeah,
I hadn't
it's the you got
realised.
her in to go and do it. She does I see quite a few things about her on TikTok where she goes and she's still really active amongst like the fans of Ahsoka.
That's cool.
But yeah, like how it showed how she got the white blades, and the fact that it's like because she purified a kyber crystal from like the Inquisitor's lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it, because she was the first person in like centuries to purify a red lightsaber. And so before we move on to movies, the upcoming series, what are your thoughts about the series that we've got coming out? And then predominantly as well, what do you think we're going to get in Mando Season 3? So first of all, the series that we haven't seen yet, what are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? And what do you think of the direction they're taking with them?
If I may go with Obi-Wan season. So I've watched the trailer they released. Like I've only watched it through once. Now I'm very much looking forward to Hayden Christian reprising a role and doing Darth Vader, and probably under better direction, so he'll be better, because I still think he's a good actor. And I feel like in those films where people say he's wooden, he was also playing a psychopath, so it kind of made sense that he has a
and he was
cold,
still quite
emotionless...
young as an actor as well.
Yeah,
He was. Yeah,
I've seen a Jumper. Yeah, Jumper. He's like really good in that, and that was around the same sort of time. But like, I'm looking forward to seeing him reprise his role. I want to see, like, Obi-Wan's not going to stay on Tatooine for this, because he can't really, unless he's just dealing with crime lords that don't want to do drugs or whatever. Like if they fully disinvite it. But yeah, if they can get him having another fight, I'm a bit torn on this because of the whole final fight he had with Vader, leaving him burning in a lake of fire or whatever, and then the next time it being on the Death Star, and at last the Master has become the student or whatever that chat was about. So it would be a bit weird if he does fight him, but then it's also like, but I kind of really want to see it still.
Yeah. It's the other fight I would love to see, but I don't think it's going to happen. Would be another real life Kenobi versus Maul, but that's because like he in the Rebels and the Clone Wars TV shows, he grew as he had such like a good grow up in the series.
Yeah,
but it's like you can tell from like the fight scene in Rebels that he didn't meet him.
Yeah,
beforehand.
Exactly, and the thing is, like, that scene I love, especially I've seen people saying they want to see them fight it out and the death of Darth Maul in live action. I don't think you need to. Like, animation's as valid as the live action stuff, and that was a beautiful fight.
Yeah,
like it just showed it was a perfect, like, Obi-Wan's full training, this Darth Maul being an absolute beast of a killer, and yet Obi-Wan just does that one cut proper samurai style. And to see the kind of almost the redemption of Maul with the whole talk, because he's like, is he the one? Is he gonna get revenge on Palpatine, which has been his fucking goal the whole of his life? So yeah, that was a beautiful scene. I loved that in Rebels. So I don't want to see that play out in this. And there's one thing.
a Rogue One style thing, though, where it's just like a hologram, and that's how he finds out that Darth Maul is going to Tatooine. I just want it to be like we saw in Rogue One, where he just comes up on the hologram, and then all of us were like, "Yes!"
Yeah, that
Solo.
was on
Solo.
That
yeah.
was it. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
more.
Except like, because I would love to see a one thing I'd written down to sort of talk about later when you were going to say about like what things we want to see would be the Crimson Dawn series with Maul running and or raising up this live action as well. But with that scene with the hologram, I just find it very funny that he's like, I'm on a hologram, and he does this little warning, and then he ignites his lightsaber. Like, can you imagine doing that if you have a phone call in real life? We're having a talk, and I'm giving you like, don't say "fuck you, Callie" in this episode. Then I just wiggle a knife around on screen. Like, it's cringy, really.
Yeah,
but it'd be suitable.
I think Obi-Wan's going to be Obi-Wan has been something that we've been waiting for a long time, and that's why I'm kind of worried about it because we know it's only a one series thing. They're not doing anything more than that. And let's be honest, when you look back at the Star Wars films, Hayden Christensen wasn't the wooden actor for me. In a lot of scenes, it was Ewan McGregor, which
Blasphemy.
Which I hate to admit, but there were definitely scenes where he was very wooden. Especially the whole killing younglings. I'm just like,
yeah, I love that. But it is a very memeable series of movies, isn't it? Those,
yeah.
Like, there's so many good bits, but they're kind of good because they're like kind of memeable and funny. I don't know. I love Ewan McGregor in those films. Like, he's a big highlight for me. So
what about the other series coming out? There is one that I could not give less of a flying fuck about. And that is the guy from
Rogue One. Yeah.
Genuinely could not get I didn't like his character. The actor is bearable. That's about it. And I was like, of everything to come from that movie, I don't care about him.
I don't know what the plot. What's his purpose? What is he going to be doing? What's the film show about?
I just think it's just like a prequel.
Him doing some little missions.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it's going to be.
Some sort of assassin or something.
Now,
but
unless K2SO's in it, I'm not going to watch it very quickly because K2SO was the driving force of that entire movie. It was a great movie.
His friends in that, was it his droid?
It was his droid. Yeah.
Okay,
he better be in it.
Because he's not actually that old. Because I think he said at the beginning. So that said at the end of the Clone Wars, at the beginning of at the end of like the Empire era. And it's like he was saying he was only 3 or 4 year old at the beginning, so he's early 20s as a captain. So it's like I can't see him having too much that he's been doing, but yeah, I don't know. It's
one of those like, here's the film. It's a good film. Let's focus in on a character and make their own series. Let's pick someone that no one has any interest in.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really think of anyone else in that film I'd want to give. Like, that film was a really good film, and it's a perfect way to introduce new characters and then wipe them out. Sorry, spoilers, but like, there's no one I really care to explore further.
I think the only one that would have worked is the one that Denzel Washington played.
Is that Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, because we saw a very young version.
That's Forrest Whitaker.
Yes, it was Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's because we saw a much younger version of him towards the end of the Clone Wars.
And in Rebels,
and in Rebels,
and in is it Fallen Order, the game?
Yes, he is in that, isn't he?
He's the only, because he's the only non-main character who's been in a film, a live-action film, an animated series, and a game.
It's impressive. So yeah, it would make sense to have him do more kind of things. And like, his tactics, they didn't like him because he's too hardcore, essentially. Like, he's fighting the Empire with dirty tactics like they use on him.
Yeah.
It's not,
so we'd have actually had something. So we'd have actually had content.
Yeah. Though then again, this Andor, whatever his name is also someone that's fighting dirty. Like, he was quite happy there to shoot, do the job that was required of him and shoot Jin's dad. What's her name? Jen.
Jen Erso.
Yeah.
And it was Jen Erso, I think his name was. Something like
that. But yeah, I feel like a lot of us can genuinely just say that Andor, it's definitely not on the list of things we needed to see. It's probably not on the list of things we're going to love, but we're going to watch it because Star Wars.
Yeah, there is one thing though. Being that I have such low expectations or care about that character means whatever he does could be over. If they make a good series and they write a good script and a good plot, it could be really good. It's like with Boba Fett. If that was someone else, it wasn't them taking a cool badass bounty hunter and making him to this boring like town mayor kind of thing. It might have been good, but it's a waste of him as a character, really. So this could be fine.
Yeah, I think the one series that I'm mostly concerned about is Ahsoka. Mainly because I'm going to go into it with Ahsoka was my favorite character in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The fact that we know it's got the entirety of the cast of Rebels in it. Sabine being probably one of my favorite Star Wars characters in general.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the guy who was cast as Ezra, being the same guy who played Aladdin.
It's Aladdin, isn't it? Yeah, I love that.
I actually think that's great casting. Their original ideas for who was going to play Admiral Thrawn, I was a little bit concerned about.
Who have they gone with? Isn't it what's his brother? Yeah.
Yeah, because that's who voiced him, I believe.
It's his brother. Yeah, Mads' brother. Can't remember his name.
All right.
But yeah, the other Mickelson brother. There was a guy called Simon. The one I would like is Simon Merritt, who plays a guy in. Have you seen Spartacus, the TV series?
Yes.
I can't remember if it's Crassus or something like that. It's one of the generals he plays. But he's got the same kind of voice, even with a bit of a lisp that like Thrawn has, and he's got the same cold, calculating thing. Like there's scenes in Spartacus where he's sort of at the war table talking in his gravelly kind of voice, and it's if you painted him blue, it would be Thrawn. So I was kind of gutted they didn't choose him. I mean, it was just fan casting. There was no like prior connection other than me just seeing this guy and being like, that is a perfect Thrawn.
I think the worry that I've got for it is when we've seen Ahsoka in Rebels and Clone Wars, she was, let's be honest, borderline perfection as far as characters go. And now we're seeing this older version who doesn't do a lot and seems to kind of just be a bit on the meh side personality wise.
What did you think of her in Mando, the episode she's in?
I couldn't stand her that much.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I really like the actress. I think she's fantastic. But I'd never wanted to see an old version of Ahsoka because that was always going to ruin my opinion of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to get we're not going to get the flips and shit because she's older. But that was Ahsoka. That is what we put with Ahsoka was all of those
snips.
Like
she was
shit.
Great. It is turning like when you turn an animation which is already kind of perfect and you have to match, that level in real life. Yeah, it's going to be hard. But I guess being old, at least you can kind of explain away the fact that she's no longer flipping.
Yeah.
I think she's technically been out of like the Jedi side of stuff for 15, 20 years at this point. So even though she's been working with Bail Organa, it's still she's been like she may not have had to go and do as much like of the old flips and stuff like she would have been when she was younger.
She wouldn't have been using the Force much because that's dangerous. You use the Force, you might get detected, and then suddenly the Inquisitors are coming down on you
again.
Yeah.
There is a series that I'm quite looking forward to just because I think the casting for the movies was perfection. The Lando series.
There's a Lando series.
There is a Lando series.
I didn't know that.
We don't know when it's coming out yet because Donald Glover is literally one of the busiest people in Hollywood for the fact he's a stand-up comedian, a writer for multiple different shows, a producer for multiple different shows, a singer and an actor. But the Lando series has been confirmed.
That's cool. I really loved him as Lando.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be good to see like his story.
I think we can all admit, like when it came to everything about the Han Solo film, we were pleasantly surprised.
I like Solo. I think it's. I was just say I think it like failed a little bit because the very previous Star Wars thing that came out was divisive, to be put politely. So like I didn't go and see it at the cinema. I love Star Wars, but I was just so jaded by the previous film that when that came out, I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I did like it. But we'll get to those. We'll get to those. Because to be
Yeah.
fair, Lando's droid as well was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then we've also got a droid story, an animation series based on a droid.
What? I've not heard of this. So it's an animated
Feature. A
cool.
droid story will combine original Star Wars animation with new visual effects from Lucasfilms. The film. Oh, it's a film, in fact, but it's a Disney Plus specific film.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have Chopper in, I don't want to watch it.
By the way, can we just take a moment to F's in chats pour out something for in the final season or final episodes of the Clone Wars, of the newest season, when the stormtroopers execute the droids?
Yes.
On the ship?
Yeah.
My God, my heart wrenched. Like, oh my, the Empire are evil. I was fine with them up until this point.
Yeah.
Now they execute in droids. It's horrible.
We also have a series called The Acolyte, which is going to be a mystery thriller, and that's going to be based during the end of the High Republic. Basically centering around a Sith who's beginning their training under a very experienced Sith Lord. So that's actually going to be a Sith POV, which I quite like because we've not really had that. And I think with The Mandalorian and how brutal that was, like when the episode in season 1 where they had the Walker just gunning everything down, and we were seeing the brutality of the Star Wars universe. Now is the perfect time to get some Sith point of views because we're starting. Like, let's be honest, it's one thing that the prequels did horrifically, and Clone Wars, because of the style of animation, didn't do it very well either. Is we haven't really been able to see just how savage the Star Wars universe is.
Sure. Just to quickly defend the prequels here, they are still kids' films at the end of the day.
They are.
You can't show it. You can't make it like a war drama properly. Like,
no, they are. I agree. But like
but now we've got so many things that you're sending out Star Wars IP all over the place. Like, you might as well have something for the adults.
Yeah. And then there's also, and again, this is one that I could not give less of a flying fuck about. The Rangers of the New Republic.
Is that still going ahead?
Yeah.
It's still going ahead, I think. I think
even though
recasting the entire thing.
Do we have to recast it all because I don't even know the person who played Cara Dune.
Gina something.
Now, for the final bit of the series stuff, what do you guys want to see amongst any of them? I know I want to see a Mando for sure. Mando, I want it to be the Battle of Mandalore. I want to see a big ass Battle of Mandalore where Mando is just forced into having to lead this battle. Because
so, what would this be? As in the Mando's taking back Mandalore from the Empire, or that would be fucking sick.
The issue is like, what's the woman's name?
Queen of her.
Yeah, she is not going to want to follow Mando, and I feel like she will challenge him for the sword. But everyone that sides with her normally, I think, will turn on her very quickly, and she will be seen as somewhat of a antagonist for the series.
I think those who are in Death Watch or whatever it's now going by, I think they will side with her for that. But I think the families, as we see at the end of Rebels, I think the families will side with Mando. So that's like including Sabine, and I wouldn't, in that case, like you might even bring in like Sabine's family.
I wouldn't. Unless I forgot something here, I wouldn't have thought Bo-Katan and Mando. I know, like, he's got the sword and she wants it, but has to earn it through combat. But other than that, like Mando, he doesn't want to lead the thing.
He doesn't want to lead it, but he can't give it away.
Yeah,
that is the issue, and I think it's going to be a case of he is forced into a position where he has to do it, whether he likes it or not. Because I can't see him losing to Bo-Katan and Azul. And like, I do think they need to explain Death Watch better. Like, unless you've watched Clone Wars and Rebels, I don't think they've explained Death Watch very well at all.
That's the ones who kind of really enthusiastically joins the Empire, right? Like the Mandalorians that had that. What's his name? The blondie guy, the one that looks like a jock.
Yeah, Vizsla.
Yeah, like it was him and like his crew, right?
That was either his brother or nephew that fought Mando in in Boba Fett, because he is House Vizsla as well.
I was
So
wondering about that. I remember me and my partner asking, like, thinking if it was,
yeah,
but couldn't remember the names
because
of anyone.
he literally says, "I am of House Vizsla. This
Yeah.
belongs to me." But again, that's why the um, the woman said, "No, it doesn't belong to you. You have to fight for it." Because even
Hmm.
though it's technically his birthright, if he doesn't win that fight, it's not his. And the whole idea of you have to prove yourself to this weapon and by winning a duel was proven with Bo-Katan because she got given it and she lost Mandalore.
Yeah.
So she actually proved this legend of the Darksaber correct, meaning now every Mandalorian is going to truly believe in the legend of the Darksaber, and they will have to follow Mando.
I still don't think she'll have her own kind of like versus
I think she will.
committee.
I think she's going to challenge him.
Yeah,
And I think
but I think they'll
people
work
will-
together, take Mandalore back, and then maybe have like an actual duel at the end of that, rather than any sort of betrayal thing. I
I
just don't see that. In...
I don't think it'd be a betrayal thing. I just think it's going to be her like
Yeah,
questioning him on every decision he makes. And I can see like she is going to be pissed off with him for most of the series. But I can't wait for Sabine to come in because it was Sabine. I'm pretty sure it was Sabine that gave Bo-Katan the Darksaber.
It was, yeah.
So she's also going to feel like a twat because she won it by combat and then just gave it away.
Yeah, I've seen that apparently it's like there's two ways how you can earn the Darksaber to be able to wield it. And it's like either way, when people work out who's meant to be the person who's meant to wield it, and it's meant to be Luke. That's meant to be the one that is meant to be wielding it.
Luke.
Yeah, Luke. Because it was originally meant to be because Obi-Wan, I think Obi-Wan beat him in a fight. Then because Obi-Wan beat Maul, Darth Maul had to give it up because he won the fight. Then it should have gone to Anakin, or Darth Vader, and then I think it goes Darth Vader to Palpatine to Luke. I think that's the
So it's basically Harry Potter Wand rules, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's Draco Malfoy had it at some point, and now it should be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, that's why right at the end of Deathly Hallows when Harry's like, "It's mine," and you're like, "Cool."
Yeah, let me do the quick calculation. Yeah, probably.
Yes,
I feel like this was some bad thought out.
Someone just like flips out a notebook and then they're like, "Right, he had it," and then he beat
and he
him.
dropped it, and then...
you beat that guy here, but that guy still had the wand. But then this guy beat you.
Yeah, I kind of hate things like that.
Yeah.
Like such a faff.
Especially when it's done over such a certain amount of time. Like this is done over like technically 2 animated series and 3 sets of movies. What do you guys want to see in the upcoming series?
In existing series we've got.
Oh, any like
I'll say. I mean, I mentioned earlier. I would love the Crimson Dawn.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Seeing where Maul was like in those final episodes, saying like, "I'm just gonna seize power," basically. While the galaxy's in chaos after this Empire takeover thing, I'm just gonna use it to seize as much power as I can, and to just see live action him with his double-bladed lightsaber becoming a crime lord properly. Like it'd be amazing. He's just such a good like character. I mean, I think everyone kind of agrees that Maul's got like since episode 1. Where he looked badass, and then all the cartoon stuff has made him into this like legendarily cool character. And when he's just like sitting on chairs, he looks so badass about it.
But he's the only one that's, let's be honest, like now because Boba Fett has not lived up to the hype. Yeah. Darth Maul is the only character that has successfully lived up to it. Like it's when we watched the trailers for like Force Awakens, we all thought Phasma was going to be the next badass, and Phasma was fucking useless.
Yep.
I
don't know if she's useless. They brought her back in the next one, and she also got canned again. And I was kind of at that point just hoping they'd bring her back in the third one, and it'd just be this recurring joke that she just keeps surviving everything. And it didn't happen, but yeah.
But I think Crimson Dawn would be epic. And there's so much like they can do there because it's literally got like 15 years of content.
Plus, like the pikes they put into the Boba Fett series look really cool.
Yeah, and like, but because we finally explored the pikes in live action a bit more, because they were pretty badass still in the Solo movie. But also the fact that we know from the Solo film how feared the Crimson Dawn were.
Yeah.
And they literally said that you can't run from the Crimson Dawn; they will find you. And I'd like to see as well Paul Bettany come back in like that series because he was fucking badass with the guy he played in the Crimson Dawn.
I'd like to see something done around in between episode 1 and episode 2 because you've got like that. Is it a 10-year gap where?
Yeah, when he's training baby Anakin to.
I think things would have been going on, but it's like just nothing. It doesn't even have to cover like follow Anakin and his training. It's just something.
10 years of the Jedi. Like. What's going on? Like,
it's because you have like 7 series and 2 films covering a 3-year gap. And then you've got like all these other series that's coming and covering the 15-year gap. And it's just it's just something to fill in that gap because like, as I said, we're now getting the High Republic, or we had the High Republic stuff.
Actually, I never even thought about putting something there, but that would be a nice area to explore.
It's the only. I think it's like I looked at something. It's the only era where there's not even a book that's been written for that era. It's just nothing.
And I think as well another thing that I want to see, preferably in a series, would be, and this could even be in that gap, but just like continued because of how much shit he did. I want to see a series based around Quinlan Vos.
Yes,
Quinlan Vos was like the hunter-like Jedi who Obi-Wan kept getting partnered up with, but he said like no one trusts him because he is rather dark side in his approach. He also gets with Asajj Ventress right after Order 66. Because he almost turns to the dark side, like he gets fully convinced, and he starts going Sith. He goes Sith before Order 66, I think, but he gets with Asajj Ventress after Order 66.
Right, okay, because I got bored of that book. The only one I've like given up on.
Yeah, but there's so much stuff that he has done because like he was technically on the council, but you'd never see him there. And the idea was that like he could literally just blend in on any planet. He would somehow find a way of blending in a planet of Transdoshans.
Like, was he a shifter or?
No, genuinely, no. He was humanoid race, but he was just that good at tracking and everything.
Yeah, the book that you get a lot of his story in is the Dark Disciple. It's like that's where you get the story about how the bit that I got up to was like he was asked to go and learn, to go to Asajj, like the Ventress, to learn how to fight Dooku. So it's like they were still trying to find a way of fighting Dooku. He then turned to the dark. He then used dark side, but then came back to the light side at one point. But then it's like they try to get this elaborate plan of getting him to escape a tower, and I just got bored of it and give up.
Right. What? Before we start to fully talk about films, from worst to best, what are your rankings of the movies? Callie, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so worst to best. Okay, so I'm just gonna say Last Jedi is the worst. Above that, I've got dog shit, and above that, cat shit, and then above that, Rise of Skywalker. Then Solo, and now we're at the point where I actually start liking the films. So like, I do like Solo. Above that, Clone Wars, it's good. And then above that, which puts it at number 7, I think, is Phantom Menace. Then Force Awakens, Rogue One, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, and then Revenge of the Sith. As I mentioned, potentially a little controversial.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, actually.
I think almost everyone puts Empire Strikes Back as their favourite, and I do feel like that film is held up entirely because of that Hoth battle being so epic at the beginning.
No, true.
Yeah.
The rest of it's fine. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to go for like the same last one. So I can't remember the names of them. So episode 8.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi, yeah. Then I'm going to put in the animated Clone Wars film because it's just meh. It's there. It introduces Ahsoka, and that's about it.
Is that the one with Baby Jabba? Like a Hutt baby?
Now, do you know what? I try to work out what that was. It's not in that film. The
Okay.
only reference I can get to that is there's one part of the Lego Star Wars video game where you rescue the baby Hutt. I cannot find it anywhere, but I remember seeing Ahsoka having to go and take that back to Jabba.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no, it's like that's like where you get the introduction to like Ventress and the fighting on Christophsis, I think it is.
Mm.
But yeah, meh. Then probably I go for episode 9, then Solo, then out the rest. Controversial, but I'll probably put up episode 2.
Yeah.
That's same
Next.
here. Solo and Clone, yeah.
Then probably Force Awakens above that. Then I'm trying to back them off from memory. 2 seconds.
I think I'm prepared. I've got my list written out. It was just
I've got my list.
just Barlow threw me by making me do it backwards. You still got the original trilogy, and you've still got episode 1 to go. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and then Rogue One as well.
He has been thrown.
Yeah, it's been. Luckily, I use truncate silence when editing these things. I can just give it the 15-minute break we're taking.
My mic was muted. I'm sitting here talking away, and it's like we're pressing me key to unmute, and it's like nah. But yeah, so yeah, my list. I'll go back from the beginning.
You were Force Awakens, I
So it's
believe.
Force Awakens. Then I'll go for episode 3 because I hadn't put that one in. Actually, yeah. Then probably episode 1, then 6, 4, 5, then Rogue One.
Rogue One at the very top.
Yeah, because I think it's that one scene at the end is what makes it.
Oh,
for me.
I mean, to be honest, like if it didn't have that scene, it would still be a very good film. But that scene,
that
my
last
gosh,
scene,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like because I had to describe it to someone I work with, and it was like he just becomes beast mode at the end, and it's like, what do you mean? It's like watch it, then see the end scene, and you don't understand it. And she came back and she's like, I see what you mean.
yeah,
It's just that one scene with like with Darth Vader.
That one scene just
Probably
sums
saved the
up
movie.
in like 2 minutes why Darth Vader was the most feared figure in the entirety of the galaxy.
Just a side check on that to just side something before we go for your list there, Barlow. Darth Vader, drama queen, right? So in that scene, darkness, and then you see the lightsaber go up, meaning he's turned off his life support system, so the lights aren't showing up anymore, just so he can reveal himself dramatically. And then to other points, if in the in Rebels, I believe, when he descends down on top of a TIE fighter, stood atop it to look dramatic. Like, he is just all about that, and I love it.
He's just about the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm going to gun all you down, but I'm going to look good when I do it.
I want this to be in your
He did a
memories.
similar sort of thing in the second Thrawn book, but he took like a second suit. He was able to use the Force to control his second suit, to march the second suit into a room to go and draw fire, and then he just came out and complete badass on them all again, with like surrounded by like his own song troupe, like the 501st. It's when they go and take this factory.
I did read someone was trying to do a theory of every time we've seen Darth Vader enter a scene, like even earlier in Rogue One, when he was like in his like bath thing and it closed and he came out in the suit, people were like, no, he was already in the suit before that scene, but he saw someone coming in. He was like, I need to scare them. Distract him. I'm running back. Right, we're going to set up this whole scene.
I mean, sets up his base on a lava planet in a castle. The guy's pure drama.
So Last Jedi is last for me.
I'm glad we're all in agreement.
Yeah, there's one good bit in that entire film, and that's
is it the lightsaber duel
it's
fight
the,
on the
fight.
ship?
It's the fight on the ship
where it's all red and colourful. Yeah, that's
it. But even then, choreographically, it's not a great scene, but it's very nice to look at.
Yeah.
Then Attack of the Clones, because I fucking hate that movie. Phantom Menace, and it's not. This is the issue. I really like everything after Last Jedi on this list. The issue is Attack of the Clones just irritated me in bits because Anakin is a creepy motherfucker, and Phantom It's the CGI just puts me off the entire film.
Hmm.
Like Liam Neeson is epic, but watching him ride this really oddly colored bantha, which has definitely not been edited very well, and it looks like his legs are just slapping this bit of screen. Not great. Rise of Skywalker, Solo movie, Revenge of the Sith. Then it's not scrolling. That's why I was getting confused. Then my top 5: A New Hope, Force Awakens. Because let's be honest, it's A New Hope with better editing.
I thought it was a great film. It was just such a shame it went off a cliff afterwards.
Rogue One, Empire, and then Return being my favorite because it is my favorite film of all time.
It is good. Like, okay, I mean, I want to, if we can talk about Last Jedi in a moment, because of I like railing on that film a lot. It's just so bad. Like, it has a couple of scenes. Now we found a way to watch it. Basically, you watch the first little bit where it's some bad, terrible jokes put into it, which don't need to be there and don't suit the Star Wars thing. And then if you kind of like skip everything up until that last battle, the lightsaber battle, and watch it from there, it cuts it down to about an hour long, and then it's okay.
The fetch quest in the middle.
The fucking like, who thought, let's make an entertaining thing about like a slow space chase where neither's getting away from each other. And it did feel like it was like, okay, we've got this first setup film, but I want to be edgy, so I'm going to throw it all out and just try and be as, subverting of expectations for the sake of it as possible.
I hate it because when you look at J.J. Abrams' plan for the trilogy, because the whole idea of The Last Jedi was he wrote a skeletal script after Force Awakens, and he wrote a skeletal script for the final film as well, and said, right, this is what I'd have done because I set this trilogy up. I've wrote these scripts for you. Do what you want with them. But this is what I was building towards. And then Rian Johnson looked at it and went, no, scrapped it and did his own thing completely and fucked it up.
I hate him.
J.J. Abrams, it's not been leaked online what the second film was supposed to be for him, but the third film had a leaked script online, and I've read the whole thing.
I've seen that one. That's the one that has like Finn raising, like on Coruscant or whatever, doesn't he? Like creating a rebellion there.
And it's like a massive guerrilla warfare in bits. Like the whole, like you could tell that they got fucked in that what would have been the second movie. Like they had this massive arc. Rey already knew who she was because, J.J. Abrams had it planned and it wasn't going to be a Palpatine. And like all of this shit, apparently Quinlan Vos was supposed to be in it at some point, and like it would have been this epic thing. Luke died in an actual way of worth dying rather than he meditated slightly too hard.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the whole scene on the salt planet with like Luke doing that, because it did feel very his kind of Jedi in a way, but at the same time you did want to see Luke be a bit
got it to a limit, but even like appearance wise he looked very different and it was obvious that it wasn't him. So it was like they filmed that scene right at the beginning before his hair grew out and then went back and filmed the rest of Luke because it looked like they'd been filmed at completely different times, or it was just such a last minute add-on. They're like, oh, you look nothing like Luke right now, Mark. Oh, fuck it. We're just going to bring him in for a scene.
To be honest, though, it's not like anyone... Like, he appeared in that Force vision as Luke Skywalker would look if people didn't know he had turned into a hermit. So, like, the last time Luke was not a hermit on a weird planet is how... So I buy that. I don't mind that, but I did
the
just
hermit
think...
shit was just pathetic.
It wasn't... It was just boring, not interesting.
And the Porgs can fuck off.
Oh, actually, no, that's the only thing I like about that film.
I
fucking love a Porg. I know they're just there to sell toys, but I bought the toy. Like, they're cute as fuck. So...
and the hyperspace jump that crashed into everyone, that was bollocks.
Oh, the cannon destroyer.
Like, aesthetically, I was like, in any other film, I'd have very much enjoyed just the aesthetic of this scene.
But and the silence, yeah.
But it's not, it doesn't work in this universe.
Well, no, because of what basically no one's willing to sacrifice their lives because of if a single X-Wing decided to just destroy the Death Star by flying the fuck into it with hyperspeed, but obviously no one's willing to do that sacrifice until Holdo came along. So it is bullshit. I do feel like the whole film had like some really nice cinematic bits, but it always reminds me. It's like jangling your keys above a cat.
Like, and this
all
is
the
why
shiny stuff they're showing us.
it's why I won't fully hate on Rise of Skywalker, because J.J. Abrams very much had to improvise and correct a film that had fucked up his entire idea, and he had to fix it and finish it in one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had to rush a lot, and it wasn't a case of like someone was just like, I think this whole thing was rushed. Yes, of course it was. He had no choice. He had to finish it.
I don't think it's a good film, the last one. But yeah, I totally don't think it's his fault. Like,
No.
he had to make up for a dog shit, subversive, like, previous one. And the things I don't like about that last one, though, are, I mean, it is just those boring, it's a long, boring fetch quest for a lot of it. The final bit where 1,000 ships show up, which apparently Lando could muster in a day, and guide through, like, an outer, something that no one can get through just because they followed Rey's signal. Again, though, a day. Like, he got that many ships in a day, and yet they couldn't take on the First Order at any point.
Yeah, but when you look at it, you're just like, from that entire film, and from the entire series in general, and it's not J.J. Abrams' fault, because Force Awakens was a great movie.
Amazing movie. It would have been my favorite, or one of my favorites, if it didn't have the fact that there's no payoff.
Yeah,
like knowing it goes nowhere.
I think with what he had planned, it could have been fantastic, and Rian Johnson really fucked it up. The fact Rian Johnson's getting his own trilogy, I don't get.
I don't know if he still is, though, is he?
He still is. The person that the co-runner of Lucasfilm for Disney is the woman who is remaking and rewriting. Kennedy? Yes, she's remaking and rewriting Knights of the Old Republic, which I hate because she says Last Jedi is the best film that Star Wars has ever done.
Sorry. As a gaming news website runner, I can correct you here. She isn't working on that project anymore. She worked there for a few months, but she got taken off of it.
Thank God.
Yeah. That's not Kathleen Kennedy. I can't remember her name, though. But
she was, and again, like, let's be honest, KOTOR didn't need rewriting. It just needed remastering and maybe change some of the voiceover lines. That's it. Didn't need a rewrite. The game is great. Just leave it as it is. But like,
one game I've never played.
Honestly, it's
played bits of it. I've not finished or got even particularly far into it because I've struggled with turn-based RPGs. But I bought it about 3 days ago because it was on sale, and I intend to try and get through.
But like, I think with what we got in that final film, there was one. Finn was done dirty, and J.J. Abrams fully has said Finn was supposed to learn how to wield a lightsaber in the second film because he was also going to be a Jedi. We knew that, it was obvious, but he got done dirty. To be fair, Kylo Ren's actual character progression was phenomenal over the entire 3 films. I actually really liked his progression. I thought his arc was really good. It could have been quicker. But again, like J.J. Abrams probably would have made it quicker. Rey can fuck off. Like,
I like Rey, but Knights of Ren are another thing. I feel like they were introduced. It was a really cool idea, and then they weren't at all in the second film. And then there was a little bit of them in the third, including when Ben sort of slaughters them. But like, they were such a cool concept, and I would love to have seen them actually be used in that second film to build it up as an important point.
Yeah, but like, again, like, and then they actually got their asses handed to them by Kylo as well.
There's a great video online of Bonnie Tyler, I Need a Hero, playing with that Ben Solo scene of him killing him, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Amazing.
It is all down to that one piece of shit person, and as you say, doing Finn dirty, he was such a cool character, and then he just gets sent on this stupid fetch quest, which actually served no purpose. Like, it didn't matter. They went and found the wrong hacker who then betrayed them with the whole stupid, I'm going to borrow this necklace off you, it was my sister's. But luckily, that turned out to be the exact shape of the thing, and I clearly knew that all. It was like, ugh. And that whole scene was so episode 1-y. I agree, I love episode 1. I think it's underrated, or gets a bad time anyway.
Yeah.
But the CGI in it was awful, and yet you have a fucking casino planet with dodgy CGI. Well, good CGI, but still looks bad.
I just hated pretty much everything about that film. Like, and when you saw the trailer, I was like, right, we're gonna get some cool things here because, like, the silver foxes, I thought they looked epic.
I also think the poles look epic, but yeah,
They don't.
they are awesome.
And like, I thought the planet idea of like that salt planet, I thought it was great. And like, there were so many good concepts here, but it's a shame it was Rian Johnson that was working with them.
Yeah, I think they tried to do the bit from episode 5, like where the battle off at the beginning.
Yeah,
I think they tried to do that on the salt planet, but it's
a very similar aesthetic, isn't it? Yeah,
go because it's like you just see the walkers coming in, and then it's just the fight between
Luke
and Ray.
I'm glad
Yeah.
like they didn't kill him off because of like I mean it's sad they didn't use him to his proper potential with Finn, but the thing like him going to sacrifice himself to save his friends, and then Rose coming in and like hitting into the side of him and being like, "That's not how we win by like whatever, but by saving the ones we love." It's like you realize all the people in that building are now fucked because of you didn't let this soldier do his sacrifice. Like that would have been an epic sacrifice, him flying into the Death Star cannon. But again, I wish it wasn't the fact that they would need to do that because Finn should have been the main character.
Yeah.
But also, like, on top of that, and actually, this is the worst thing in the Star Wars, in the entirety of the Star Wars films ever. I don't care. The fact that you can survive space by using the Force and somehow have your eyes open and just float.
They never addressed it at all, did they?
No, they never, ever brought anything like that up. And like, when people are like, "Oh, people are whinging about like force healing," force healing has always been a thing.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with that is how the fuck did Rey know it was a thing? Shouldn't have. But like the only thing I hate in that, like when it comes to the use of the Force, because every other part of it was canon, but that was not, and it was not explained. And it's never been explained anywhere.
My issue with it is it looked bad. It looked like they had a cardboard cut out of her and just moved her across a screen. But not only that, it's like, obviously Carrie Fisher died that year. A perfect opportunity to write off. It would have been sad not having that end scene where she gets to kind of see Luke again. But like, there was an opportunity there where if she had died, it would have been impactful. Like, that scene with Ben flying towards and then not shooting the missile because he's still conflicted. You know, like, he is conflicted. He's dark side, but he is killing his own mum kind of thing. And then someone does it for him, essentially. So it's like, he couldn't do it, and then it happens anyway. It was impactful. That death would have meant something. Like, Admiral Akbar died in that, by the way. No one gave a fuck. Like, Rian Johnson didn't give him the respect he deserves in actually caring that Akbar, you know, the war hero, dies in that scene. But
yeah.
But I just think there were so many wrong turns taken in those films, and like Force Awakens was just like the perfect level of what Force Awakens was everything we wanted.
Yeah, I agree
with that. It really was. And it's a massive and I never understood why Disney hired 3 different directors for 3 movies anyway.
Well, to be fair, the original Star Wars had different directors in each movie, but going on George Lucas's writing. So, like, that was kind of fine.
But like, it's the case that they were writing their own movies. J.J. Abrams was the only one that said, "I've wrote scripts for you. You use them." And then the directors were like, "Actually, we've been told we can do our own thing, so we're doing our own thing." And it unfortunately plays into George Lucas's hand of this whole thing sucks, but I've made like £6 billion from it. And but when you look at George Lucas, you're like, yeah, George Lucas, you also directed the prequels, mate. Like, you didn't direct the originals, and they were the best of the 6 at the time. You directed the prequels with very little directing, actually, like very little good.
Episode 4, didn't he? New Hope, and then he got other people in.
I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure. It was
have a look. I thought it was in, but I know he done like some arty stuff. Like, there's that one that's got the number which always shows up.
So he directed A New Hope, but that was it.
And and I just to talk about lists here again. Like, I put New Hope higher than Empire and Return because it works as a standalone film. whereas Empire Strikes Back is between, it's something to get to sequel. Most films do it when they're going to be a trilogy. First one stands on its own. Second and third have to be seen as a single entity, really.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of faith going into what Star Wars can be. I mean, Mandalorian proved it to us. Rogue One was, again, great. The fact that we're no longer getting Skywalker-related stuff fills me with a lot of hope. Because, to be fair, we never needed another set of Skywalker films.
I always find it funny how there's like a giant galaxy with many planets and only about 5 people in it matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like...
I mean, they have got the door open for a retcon with the
Rebels,
yeah,
time travel and all that business.
Yeah.
Gets messy though, doesn't it, when you do that? But I would be quite happy to go like, okay, we're going to just do Legends canon from now on, and all that stuff we released is a different parallel universe.
Legends canon, I'd be so happy because like Legends has some amazing things.
I've never looked at Legends.
This
Legends
is one thing I was gonna kind of bring up. Like, I'm not a fan, even though Force Awakens was great. I'm not a huge fan of the basically 20 years later, everything's back to how it was. The Empire's here again under a new name. Somehow they're allowed to kind of pretty much take over, like by the time the second one comes along, and I just feel like there wasn't a need. The balance was brought to the Force. That happened. The prophecy came true. So within the Legends canon, there's the what they called Yuuzhan Vong. So it's like this is a race of war people from the outside of the galaxy who have come in, which kind of fits into, I don't know, like if you know much like with Thrawn. He's got the Chiss ascendancy, and his reason for being here is to see if he can ally with the Empire to fight off, worst force. I don't know if that is Yuuzhan Vong it was meant to be, but they come in. They've got a whole unique thing where a lot of biological weaponry, like kind of like the Tyranids in Warhammer 40k, if anyone knows that. But yeah, they are unique. They're not just the Nazis again. Which is like, or the British Empire, whichever one you want to look at.
Yeah,
the Empire, like it's a different foe, something new, something we don't have to then go like, oh well, I guess Darth Vader or Anakin, when he threw the Empire down the thing, actually didn't really achieve fuck all because he's already back in 20 years.
Yeah, and I think there's so many different avenues they can go. Like if they want to stick with the whole Star Wars thing, give me Knights of the Old Fucking Republic. And that's all I'm demanding, that because I want to see Darth Revan I prefer it in a series, especially when, let's be honest, when you look at what Darth Revan's supposed to look like, we have Keanu Reeves right now. Like,
make use of him while he's still here.
Yeah, he doesn't age, so you don't have to worry about him playing like a 30-year-old because he's always going to look like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My biggest worry is that they're going to they're doing it already, is they're just going to throw way too many projects at us. Like I've not had issues with many of the Marvel projects yet for Disney Plus. I didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that's because I don't like the characters. I will say the show was good, but I just don't like the characters, so I was never going to enjoy it. I didn't like the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, but the series was good. Other than that, I've loved them all. But looking at the amount of projects that are coming out, I'm going to start hating them. Like, and let's be honest, we're in a generation now where we are, let's be honest, bingers. Yeah. We don't often watch things once a week when they come out. We wait till they're finished and we binge them. And there's so many things now that I do not feel like I've got enough time to watch everything I want to watch.
See, I'm sick of Marvel crap anyway. Like, I've not watched Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, whatever else. Like, I stopped caring about those things. Star Wars to a degree, like I'm still going to watch those ones though, because I am deeply into Star Wars.
Yeah.
But where they kind of, in my negative opinion, ruined the newest set of them, and like Boba Fett wasn't very good, that frankly at this point, just throw any old shit at me. I'll watch it anyway. If it's terrible, I just think it was terrible. Fucking give me a crossover. Give me Tony Stark enters the Star Wars universe. It'll be fucking awful. But whatever, at this point, you've already ruined it for me. So, like,
I love that.
Give me any old
something
shit.
different. Why not?
Right. Well, thank you both for joining me today. Thank you,
It's
Sammy,
all
for
right.
not being here.
We were going to talk about the fans, but I think you've had a good good look at what the fans are like. We all hate Star
Yeah.
Wars, so
That's the start. The issue, but I think it's just, again, it just comes to fandoms as a whole. Like Harry Potter is toxic as shit when it comes to fandoms, but like we're never going to beat anime fandoms for that because the
True.
Naruto fandom are fucking horrible. But like
we're just a fandom of gatekeepers, apparently.
the issue with the Star Wars fans is that I think with Star Wars, though, the difference between Star Wars and so many of the other like films, franchises, and that is it's such a generational thing as well. Like because Star Wars has been going for so long that we have such a big fandom. We all hate what we hate, but we can't get along with what we like. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like you get in Star Wars fandom, you get judged on what you like. Oh, well, you've not seen this, so you can't say anything. Or, oh, you like that film, so fuck you. And you're like, that's not how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to be like, guys, we like Star Wars. Like, I had someone the other day tell me I wasn't a true Star Wars fan. And I was like, I don't know how I can prove to you that I am. And I was like, no, like, oh, well, I've got this. And then they literally showed me this like really shitty lightsaber. And I pulled out my NeoPixel fucking 500 quid lightsaber.
I've got an embarrassing amount of lightsabers around my house. Like,
I don't.
I was like, I literally have first edition toys from the fucking 60s, mate. Like,
the thing is, what I'd say is like, you know, if you're a true fan, it's because you actually like the thing, and I don't know if I can say that about a lot of Star Wars. So.
Yeah, like Star Wars, I will always say is my favorite thing, but then I'll bitch about it for 4 hours. Like, but it's the same as Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, I loved. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and I love the books.
And then 7 and 8.
I will still spend most of my conversation bitching about the last 3 episodes.
Honestly, my relationship, right? The Last Jedi has got us through quite a bit of hard times. Like our just mutual hatred of that film. Like it'll happen multiple times a year where we'll just start talking and like rant for about 2 hours about how bad that film is, and it's always the same fucking points. But it just it's therapy, frankly.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you for being here. And everyone that has listened to us hate on the thing that we have all said we love. And there's one thing that you can take from all of this, guys that are listening, and that is if you enjoyed The Last Jedi, then you are not a true Star Wars fan. Thank you for listening.